My name is Debra Battistella. I'm an occupational therapist, and this is the first video that I'm making for my YouTube channel. And since it is April, and April is Occupational Therapy Month, and I haven't really done anything for OT month, I thought, what better thing can I do than start a conversation, start recordings about occupational therapy. I love occupational therapy. I first went to school to become an occupational therapy assistant, and as I was going through that program, I discovered that I love learning, and I feel like I sort of stumbled upon an amazing profession. So by the time I was finished with that program, I knew I needed to become an occupational therapist. I went on to get my bachelor's degree in anthropology, which is an amazing fit to pair with OT. And then I went on to get my master's in occupational therapy. I thought while I was going to school that I would work in mental health, and that was not true. I learned on my mental health fieldwork rotation for my OTA degree that that's not a good fit for me. And so I ended up moving into the adult and geriatric population, working with people who have physical dysfunction problems. That was natural. I've always loved older adults, and I tend to connect well with them. And so it was just very easy for me to see that that's where I belong. I've had a really interesting and varied career thus far. So I've been working in the field for almost 19 years now, and I never ever get tired of being an occupational therapist. Currently, I teach at a local college in an occupational therapy assistant program. I'm full-time faculty there. I'm the academic fieldwork coordinator, and I teach the courses that relate to my background. So the physical disabilities portions of things, as well as the occupational therapy interventions course. And then I oversee the level 1B and the level 2 fieldworks there. I also work weekends at a local hospital in acute care, in critical care units as an early mobility occupational therapist. So over the course of my career, I have been fortunate, very, very fortunate, to work in all levels of care in the FSDS realm. I started work at the hospital that I work in now. I have worked there since I graduated from OTA school. So I have worked in acute care there and in the medical rehab unit. I've also had other jobs where I have worked as a subacute rehab therapist. I have worked in long-term care, and I've also worked in outpatient. And for a brief moment in time, I did home care. And I think home care is really cool because it's so easy to just do occupation-centered interventions in people's homes, and you get to see how they live. But ultimately, the home care gig wasn't for me, and it might have just been the company that I worked for, or perhaps it's that I live in Western New York and winters are tough. So that's kind of the variety of my experience. The hospital that I work in is classified as a stroke center, so I have a strong neurological background. I don't have any special certifications in terms of neuro work, but that's where most of my experience lies, so I'm very comfortable working with patients who've had strokes or traumatic brain injuries. I became interested in more of the energy types of medicine things more recently within the last few years. So I became a level 2 Reiki practitioner, and I'm also a certified Tai Chi for rehab instructor. And interesting though, the system that I work for, they don't allow for the energetic types of work, but I did notice after I went through the Reiki attunement that a lot of my patients, they just want to hold my hand. So I'm pretty sure that people can feel that energy, and that my energy, or the energy of that is transferred through a Reiki process, is still felt by the patients that I work with. I love all things OT. I can talk about OT all day and all night. I pretty much eat, sleep, and drink it. And I'm really fortunate to have some OT colleagues and friends who will talk that talk with me. On a personal level, I love my kids. I have 3 children, and I have 4 grandchildren with another one on the way. None of my children live near me, so they give me multiple opportunities to travel around the country, which is great fun. And when I'm not hanging out with my kids, my home, this is my living room. I sold my home last year, and I bought this as a condo, and it needed major renovations, so that's what I'm working on now. And I enjoy riding motorcycles, and recently I had a Spider, but that needed to go away, so it's time to get something new. So it'll be interesting to see what I end up with next. But I love doing outdoors things and dancing, and just trying to learn new things and connect with people on a social level. So that's a little bit about my career, about me personally. And now I just want to tell you briefly why I decided to start a YouTube channel with some videos. I have noticed over the years of just many conversations that I've had with people, many conversations that I've had with rehab managers, that a lot of times occupational therapy practitioners provide treatment interventions that look sort of like another discipline. And I've heard the frustrations that they've shared and expressed to me. And so every year at the college that I work at, we provide free continuing education for the fieldwork educators. And this past year, we decided to put together a presentation on occupation-centered interventions. And myself and my colleagues put the presentation together, and it was very well attended, and it was very well received. And the conversation that we had, it was just an amazing presentation. It was one of those presentations that was really more like a conversation than it is somebody teaching. And everybody in the group really mixed well with each other. And we were talking about all of these reasons why we should provide OT, occupation-based interventions in OT, and how to do that. Other people asked us to come and present at their facilities, because it's a very important thing, especially in these times now where we know that OT is the profession that if hospitals will spend more money on us, that they will have fewer readmissions, people will be having safer discharges. And I think it's an important conversation for us to have. And so I would like to talk with you about interventions. How do we be occupation-centered or occupation-based? How are we supposed to be occupation-based when we're working with populations of people who can't do much, but we're still supposed to put them on program? They're still appropriate for program. There are things we can do with them. I will tell you that I face this challenge every day when I go to the hospital to do occupational therapy, because many of the people that I work with in our intensive care units are very debilitated, or they're very sick to the point where all they can do really is sit up for a little while, and we're mobilizing them to help their respiratory status. So I understand, I get it, and it's a conversation that I love to have, and why not? Let's start talking about it during OT month. So thank you for listening. I hope you continue to join me and follow me on YouTube.